it's, are we gonna be satisfied with a 1,200 square foot addition to take care of our needs? If that's not, if you feel strongly that that's not enough room and area to go,
Right.
you know, then it's gonna be a next year process.
And if we, but, you know, again,
Yep.
maybe this would be the best way to go, but whatever we do, and then we're stuck.
Right.
We don't
right,
go anywhere.
Right.
So that's gonna be stamped and delivered.
Have you had any discussion with Chris about square footage and cost for a lease?
No, we haven't. That's one thing,
No.
I talked to our town attorney, and she said she'd like to get together with Chris and maybe his attorney, just to hash out, you know, she knows what the legality,
Yeah.
you know, of the, on the town side, so if they.
There could be a discussion about cost up front ahead
Right,
of that, so at least
right.
you had a ballpark figure of what
Right.
it was, so you can compare what it,
Well, I think what we've gotta do
Right,
now,
so-
these bids are all, you can accept them or not, right? When you put
We
it out
can
for
accept
bid.
them, but we can only hold them for like a certain amount of time.
Right,
you know,
right,
4
but
to
if
5
we get
days or
something,
like that.
this
Right.
process has gotta start.
Right.
And if you put the bids out within a month, how long will it take before you get the bids back?
Typically, once you put it out to bid, you give them 2-3 weeks to come back with bids.
So we've got about almost a 2-month window before we'd have bids, which would give us option to talk to Chris and possibly, you know, look at something here too, just, you know, cost factors, because if, you know, we can put or, you know, as I said, you know, that's why Chris is here. He wants to, you know, hear what the, you know, what's somewhat's been discussed, the options. He, you know, he's, thank God, he's come forward saying he could possibly be interested. You know, but I guess I'd rather be a tenant than an owner at this time, because we need more room. Somebody could make more room for us or whatever. You know, but we've gotta do something. We put our neck out there, and the town has gotta have, the court, we gotta get the officers out of the foundation's home, because that's just going down tubes.
Yep.
And that's why if you can get this together, Dave, for us,
Yep.
get the bid process out, at least the shell part will be done, the bid will be out there, and it may come in cheaper yet. We don't know,
Until you put
we
it
don't
out.
know until you put it out. But as Donnie said, 150,000, 160,000 will give us an enclosed building with a floor, with insulation.
Right.
Now, the plumbing end of it from before, I don't remember the facts quick, do you remember it quick? Put the toilet in the bathroom and all that plumbing, because there was an added cost on that.
yeah, that would be, I figured the town could put that plumbing in the floor of the drain line, and so on, when they do the site prep, and they can take it and run it to the back to a
But there
sump.
was some
There's a-
cost to it.
Yeah, there's a pump station that's in there,
Right.
and that was a huge, you know, it was
Like
two
roughly-
grand. $2,000 for a pump station, so it wasn't a lot of money.
Yeah.
But that would be the town would take care of the prep
Yeah,
work on that
yeah,
and get all
pipe
that
and all
installed
that, Right, yeah.
while they're doing.
I'm just
the-
saying, if we're gonna, try to push some figures here quick,
Right.
you know, if we do the modular thing and we're looking at 200 to 250,000 to move there, well, if we wind up in the same ballpark here, we don't got no place to grow. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right now, we're sitting at 160,000. Plus, we have the interior, we're probably gonna be 200,000 somewhere around that, you know? I mean, that's a rough, quick guess, you know,
Push 250,
250. So,
realistically.
Yep. Yep.
250,000.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
HVAC and all that.
so with that, you know, that's what I'm saying. The other option, even if it is at 200,000, you know, but are we gonna be happy with what we got versus this, you know?
Well, that's, you know,
1,200 square feet. And we need extra square footage if we do that route, right? Yeah, we're gonna need like 1,800
2,000,
Yeah, 2,000 square feet, really, yeah.
yeah. That's your
Yeah.
number figures. Guess I didn't find all the paperwork. What's this? That's from one building. Warranty.
All right. By the time I put the electric in and everything, that's gonna put us just about in the same ballpark. By the time we put the electric in, we put the plumbing in, we put the well, the septic, we're probably realistically gonna have to hire someone to prep the site, you know? I mean, the town could do some of it, but they're not gonna be able to get it all done, you know? You gotta put a man in on a bulldozer and go. Cost for it gonna be almost deadlocked, same thing, but we are gonna have a little more space.
So where you talking, what are you comparing again? Something here is.
Roughly what the addition would be, ballpark figure, but we're just kicking around. We're figuring we're gonna be,
No, I can't find those figures. They gave us last time.
That's for something.
and right here with all the other extras that we said we were going to do, okay? And that would be with this being the shared medium. Versus, let's say, let's see if we just say down by the well, that way we don't.
I'm interested in whatever viable option. Yeah.
But that's
You
going
put that
to
there,
be,
you're stuck. You're not-
exactly, there's no home to do that. That's the good thing, right?
You know, you spend a lot of money and you're not doing.
Right. You got growth space. See, that's the one thing that sticks in my mind.
They're over there.
Is we get too much here, we get too much here, we bottleneck
That's
them.
exactly, that's exactly.
And every time this gets utilized, it hinders them.
And it's gonna be more utilized. Stuff goes on there now.
Exactly.
It becomes something else, but it's already paid out. This is sort of how I look at it.
Just for that,
Yeah.
makes me wonder if the same amount of money that we spend on boards, less, you know, dealing with
That's the
less
alternative. Turn
complications.
this space into something like that.
Gives us more options, I think.
Done that.
We weren't even really thinking about that other than 100. Yeah, you put like who's in here now, who's going to be added. Basically, we're codes.
Find out a little bit ahead, that's not causing the other side too fast.
Is that
Because we
I mean, I
have
would
more
use
space.
I think you can put code.
We're
But
limited
do you,
here.
do you want to have a bid put out for this, for our initial building? Or do you want to put it off until we get,
Tuesday, we could make that decision, maybe kick some more things around right now. Because then the
How much do we have over here? Yeah, there's quite a bit over there. Does it go beyond the hedgerow? Beyond it? No, just keeping it.
Because do we have a quote idea as to what we need for a bid anyhow? Because we had to put specs out for that.
Right.
package? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that, I mean, this is what, are we gonna discuss it more and make a decision on Tuesday night at a regular board meeting?
With regard to what the bid's gonna be.
Well, or do we wanna put out a bid for,
this,
or bid on, you know, what, initially what we're talking about? And Dave, you're ready to say something?
If you're thinking that you're space limited, right, and you're concerned about not having space in that building, then it's probably good to seriously consider the other items. Because again, we're building something that's not for 5 years or 10 years. This is gonna be a lifetime building. So this is gonna be here 50, 60 years, whatever. So if you want us to help you look at some sort of layout over here, right?
Right, right, or give us an idea of what we have to have.
how that,
Because the
how that
other
might
side-
work,
the
and
other
I'm not,
side
and I'm
of
not pushing it, I'm just thinking, you don't wanna
The other side of
spend,
that would be,
you don't wanna spend $250,000 and not be happy.
Right. I mean, if they're gonna close on that-
If we're gonna spend $250,000 and you want a bigger building, well, let's think about how to do that.
Because we're
Right.
stuck here. I mean, so if we're talking equivalent amounts between two options, with
I mean,
an
unless
option
we buy
there and
land
an
out
option
the
out
back.
somewhere else,
Right.
we're,
Unless we buy
we have
land out the
nothing we can
back,
do.
this place can't grow after we're done here.
We're stuck.
And that's the part that concerns.
Right.
And as Donnie and I were just talking, remember, we're gonna bring in more people, more activities,
This
more
is the part
things
that
going
really
on here that's gonna
concerns
impinge.
me,
impinge
is I
on
don't
what
wanna
they-
hinder
Yeah.
the town's activities.
Right, these-
All of this is important to the community,
Right.
but you're gonna get extreme screaming if they're hindered from doing their work.
Right.
And I don't want putting people that are coming here for something else at a safety issue because
Right.
they're moving big equipment
Yeah.
around. I mean,
Yeah.
and they gotta do their job.
That's their, this is the primary function of this site.
I mean, that's the main reason we closed down for elections is because of the safety factor and
Yep.
they can't, what are they gonna do with all them cars zooming in and out of here? You know, I mean, you gotta put a flag guy out there, you know? And, not that the other stuff, but there is gonna be people in and out, you know, I mean, fortunately, we don't have huge crime issues, but there's gonna be times where they're gonna have arraignments in the middle of the afternoon and who knows how many people are gonna arrive on that, you know, I mean, plus you got town clerk activity that, let's face it, hunting season could get busy, you know, those are things that could create more traffic for these guys to worry about, and if we're all crammed in here, that's a concern, not only down the road, we've got no building, no avenue unless we buy property, you know, and that's probably my personally biggest concern is,
From what I'm hearing,
Shifting
it's
gears then.
similar price for both options. I mean, it's not as if this one's gonna cost a lot less than another option out there or with whomever. I mean, yeah, it'll be some more, but then liability, as you're alluding to. You got trucks going back and forth and
Go back and
everything that's happening up there is gonna come down here. This is gonna be the focal point.
Just a question to make sure I understand. So you're talking about some site other than this site? Because if you build over here along that wall, don't you have all the same traffic issues as here? Or would you somehow try to limit?
But it's not-
You could address it differently.
Yeah, you have them come in and out
Donnie,
maybe from the
yeah,
other
the problem here is,
driveway over there.
right, we spend all that
Not have the
money,
traffic through
we've
here.
spent all that money to put it right there,
Right.
and we're stuck. We can never change it, we can never expand, nothing, and we're taking everything that's going on in that other building, and we're bringing it down here, all the activities, all the business. We have the extra liability, because there's gonna be more people down here, you can have trucks going back, and all kinds of stuff. Granted, if you just, you know, hypothetically, if you had it over there, you could expand, and I don't know what's gonna happen with the pond, but there are other options. You have breathing room that you could take advantage of.
Okay, but others, on the other hand, town court meets one day a week, every other week?
every other.
Twice a
Town
month.
clerk is
Twice a
open 2
month.
days a week, 3 days a week?
Mhm.
Are you really bringing that much more? I'm being double advocate here because, you know, I can see it working both ways. But
Well, there's a
it's
fair,
just hard
there's,
for me to understand that you add this building on here that's gonna cost the same as building a totally new building that is big as this and this, so it's bigger than what we're adding here. How are you gonna do it for the same money? That's what's got me confused.
Yeah.
And develop the site.
well, we haven't really looked at it in very much depth, number
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And number two, that you know what's going on up there. That is not a building that is in very good shape, and people have a lot of good ideas and thoughts on why that needs to be either
Right.
totally redone up there or brought down here.
And that's why
So
I
it's,
wondered.
well, let me just
Okay,
finish. So what I'm saying is, when you consider it all together, liability, activity, the business that has to go on with the town here with trucks, et cetera, you know, why would you put yourself right on top of that in a spot that you have no options? You have none, you're gonna spend almost as much or approximately as much. I guess we don't know specifically because we haven't looked at that, you haven't and I haven't. But, you know, I think it's worthwhile for those arguments to say, let's just consider what that would be and not just push it aside and say, no, it has to be here and that's it.
But
So,
then if you look at a site that's not on this site, that's a whole different ballgame. So it's
It
pretty
could
much still
be.
has to stay on this site, whether it's here or over there on the Right.
We don't know, we
To an
haven't looked,
yeah, I
looked that
mean-
closely, I don't know.
Unless it's a lease. In other words, you can't, probably.
Well, the other
between
thing
now
is
and next-
that the other property that town does own, that they own that already, you know? It's a matter of doing prep site, which
Sure.
you're gonna run into the same expense as what you do locate. You'd have to do a septic, you'd have to do the water, you'd have to do the electric, okay? The biggest difference is you would have to level off some of the land. The big plus is there is all gravel underneath it.
And most town buildings, oftentimes, the offices are separate from where their shops are. I mean, you see that all the time.
I mean, it's just-
You go any other.
Most of them, yeah.
I just wondered.
I mean, if you look at the election, for instance, you know, it's unnerving to me. You've got that many people around, and Mark and, you know, that group have to do their job, and you've got big trucks going back and forth, and, you know, it's almost, you don't even think of, you know,
It's quite an
potential things
election day
that
off.
could happen. There's a lot
I
of
mean, some
people.
great options could happen here, and we've discussed it. If we could fill the pond into just a little
Yeah.
pond
Yeah,
and make it look
exactly.
nice,
Yeah.
it would, how much area would we grow? And it would look better than what we have there.
That's right.
There's obstacles in different directions that's slowing or stopping that process. So considering our bottleneck time frame,
Yeah.
to push that would be one project when we should be working on this project, although I think that would be a great option, to be honest with you. I mean, you could put a gorgeous building there, you could make the pond look like something, and it would give us how much more space? But
The DEC and Army Corps, that ain't gonna happen.
That's the Army Corps.
the Army Corps of Engineers is the
Well,
real
even
is
DEC
the
can give you a hard time.
bottleneck on it.
I don't know if DEC has a whole lot of, what I've talked, the Army Corps, they, you know, they might consider shrinking it or whatever, you know, but they've gotta see what the pictures are and this and that.
It's a long process.
It's, I mean, I guess what we've gotta do now, and this is, here we go, is I would say a 2,000 square foot building is what we gotta be looking at. They're in the ballpark, Dave? I mean, you know, what would a 20 by 50, a 30 by 65, 70, you know, foot building, you know, just a somewhat of a floor plan and just some rough ideas, because it would, I mean, and the other side of it would be, you know, what we could put here, you know, and what, you know, possibly we could work out with Chris, you know, we give the floor plans or ideas and then go from there, so, you know, yeah, I don't know, you know, I don't know how it's gonna work out, but that would be that's what it sounds like, the option, you know, you wanna
I mean, I
look
really
into.
thought this was a great cost-effective line, but as we're going down the road, it's cost-effectively not quite what I thought it was
Well,
going to be.
Right, at 250, it sounds stupid, I agree with that. But if you get a 2,000 square foot building, that's gonna come in at 400,000.
If it does.
If it
does,
does, that's what I'm saying, if it does,
If it does.
you know.
Then this does look more cost-effective.
Well, and that's what we've gotta get, is something to, you know, some ballpark figures. That's where John and Dave got together and gave us a, you know, a sit-down $300,000 figure.
Right.
And now that's been whittled down to like probably in the 250 range.
Which is probably realistically as good as it's gonna get.
It's $200 a foot, basically. And that's scary when, holy shit. But that's where it is. And if a 2,000 square foot building, I know a third of it will be open space, so that wouldn't have as much construction cost possibly, but you still got the heat and you got
Right.
this and that, so, but, you know, that may be a cheap third. I guess I call it the cheap third, because you're not petitions and everything. Yes, Pete?
They let the book out, you know, the worms out of, when they came to liability. And I had a lot of experience from
Mhm.
downstate, from building and being in high rises,
Yep.
and seeing tractor trailers back in
Yep.
and everything, and how dangerous it can be. They opened up a whole book of worms,
Right.
they brought it out already.
Right, well, that, you know, if we're,
So right there, if somebody sues the town,
oh, yeah,
Other
You didn't say
modular
nothing.
ideas.
No,
The
no,
liability part that they just brought up
right,
is a great concern.
yes, yes, and that, I guess, was overlooked, or whatever you wanna call it.
I'm glad I'm here, I'm hearing it.
Yes, so I think, you know,
All this stuff, so we haven't- just in the standalone building. Just as far as the occupancy of the new building, or what we're talking about for the 2,000 square foot, it would be the courtroom plus the stuff that was gonna be in the addition, right? So in
basically
essence,
adding this room to it.
exactly, and trying to figure out what sort of floor plan makes the most sense to do
Right, I
that.
know when we talked to G&I Homes, they actually had a good idea. Put town clerk, code on one side, meeting courtroom in the middle,
Yeah, and
and a judge on the other end, which, that did make sense,
Right,
you know?
Yep.
Because you could utilize it, both sides could utilize it.
exactly.
So that was one thing, positive thing, I guess we could say we got out of G&I Homes. And then the fact of, you know, the modular's a great idea, but when you got handicap accessibility, it's gonna cost you a lot of money to get all the accesses handicap accessible. 'Cause you have
You're
the-
looking, how much file storage are you looking for? I mean, I think one of the big issues always is file storage.
Well, we could never have enough.
Electronic.
Yeah.
So I mean, for that, you know, like you're talking, if we're talking to 20, or 2,000 square feet, you know, you're gonna be adding, instead of like this is, we figured out what, 25 by 50? Is what the measurement was?
Yeah.
So that figures up what, 1,200 square feet, 12, 13, 1275. So if you go 6 on that is 1875, then you're gaining 175 square feet of possibly storage space. That's a whole nother office, and a decent sized office. So it could be a file room or whatever. But that's, I mean, but you're gonna, in that footage also, you're gonna have to have a room for your water and all that to be taken care of. Mechanical room and stuff, so you're gonna be taking some out where you don't have it in this one. But it's, you know, I guess some type of floor plan to look at and some rough estimate again. I mean, this is, you know, it's, but you're also right, we've gotta, as they say, shit or get off the pot.
Now, what's the space availability at the lot downtown in Chris has? I mean, could we get it, or is it something where we want to get something that's more?
That's a what?
Square or rectangular?
Is that more square or rectangular, Chris, your lot?
It's more rectangular.
Rectangular.
Yeah, the only issue down there is, I think you're gonna have the same issues you put here, you're gonna be limited on growth there.
Yeah.
You just are.
Yeah.
You know.
Limited on what?
Growth.
Growth. Worry about growth, you're gonna be limited there. You're just going to,
Well, the growth would be well, you're not really,
you know.
2,000 square feet, you're not really gaining any growth.
You're done. Right. We're
I mean, you could easily put, you know,
Right, but I'm just saying,
2,000 square
that's what
building.
that's what we're dealing with here, is 2,000 square feet between the addition and this road. So another building at that footage, you're not
This would be more.
gaining office space.
Location where you're, no, where Chris's would be, so we could look on the tab.
Yeah, we can look at that.
To try to do,
Would that be all right, Chris, if they look at it?
Layout that.
I'm sorry.
Or is it all right if they look at your,
Yeah, yeah, that, no, I got no issue with that.
In essence, if we could find a building that would fit on both locations,
right,
right, then it's just the difference in cost of what you'd have to do to develop
Right.
each
Prep
site.
site,
Yeah.
yeah.
right,
Right,
right.
so we'll look at Chris's lot, we'll look at what's
Yep.
out here and try to come up with
Right,
a rectangle, right, that looks like
Yep.
it might work in both locations.
I-
Or maybe look at
I'd
something.
like you to look at
Yeah,
that
Right,
down
see-
there
see-
too. I mean,
see how-
that's large, it's just gotta be level, you know?
Part of our issue is if we go to a brand new site like that and we disturb more than an acre, you're gonna get into stormwater compliance, which is gonna cost you another 50, 75 grand.
What kind of, what?
You have to deal with stormwater DEC compliance and if we go over an acre.
you're talking
Right.
at 2 or 3 acres.
Yeah.
Just to make it level, we'd be 2 or 3 acres, and you're gonna
Yes.
add,
And then
you're gonna
they-
add 50 to 100 grand in stormwater costs.
That just about X's that out. right
So
there.
you're talking, you mean even just bring the gravel down, you're referring to that or building?
No, if you were to look.
If you had to go down here and disturb that site to make it level to develop on it, in order to comply with the new general stormwater permit, you would have to build stormwater compliant stuff, which is 50 to 100 grand.
What
Okay,
New
we're
York City
talking-
had, we all have now.
We're talking.
Any project now is subject to that.
Well, that's what I
People,
mean, it used to be New York City was the big one that
Yep,
had all these
and now it's
controls, and
everywhere.
now it's statewide.
right, and it's gotten worse. The restrictions are getting more and more. It's costing more and more.
Okay,
So let's try to come up with what we think
right,
might
if you can
be
see what,
our ultimate good building might fit in both of those sites.
and even if it went to 2,200 square feet, so we got.
Well, that's what I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to get, we've got some circles and squares on here already that sort of make sense.
Right.
So it's moving stuff around, adding mechanical room,
Right.
looking at file storage, and trying to come up with something that's dimensionally makes sense,
Yep.
and looking at both lots as what might fit.
I mean, you know, what's more hassle for you guys, your board?
Well, it takes a while to, you know, if you have a spot and you just, here it is, then it's straightforward, but usually it takes
I mean.
a while to get there.
A question, Dave and John. If we, at the next board meeting, decide to put this original project out to bid, just to get the process going, I mean, how much does this entail for you? You know, to get the, put a package together, I mean.
It would take us a couple